Hey there. Here we are back for another stealther today. I am at a cemetery once again. This is called Blood Cemetery. And there is a long-standing story about this cemetery. Here we go. Well, I'm inside Blood Cemetery. Difficulty level for stealthing this has increased. There's a road with houses really close. I could see that when I looked it up on Google Earth, but I didn't realize how the view would be between the two, and there are areas where they can see. There's a house directly behind that portion there. There's a house on the far end there. That's the street behind me with houses. And every once in a while cars go by. So there's a reason why I chose this cemetery. There is a very interesting story that goes along with it. So I thought I would take the chance here to read that story to you. This is Blood Cemetery. And the superstitions, the stories, the myth about this cemetery. Well, it all centers around a character named Dr. Blood. The wealthy Blood family built the cemetery on their own land in the 1800s, and the last surviving family member was old Dr. Blood. He lived in a creepy old mansion next to the cemetery, thus being given the moniker the Blood House. The story goes that old Doc shot his wife with a shotgun and hacked her body to bits with an axe. Afterward, to avoid punishment, he went into the cemetery and hung himself from a tree. And supposedly, to this day, the ghosts of both Dr. and Mrs. Blood haunt the cemetery. Years afterward, a group of teens decided to explore the cemetery and mansion. One kid was dared to enter the spooky old house and proceeded to enter through a window. After an hour with no word from the boy, the other kids freaked out and went to the police. A policeman told them that Dr. Blood's ghost lived there and isn't fond of trespassers. In minutes, the police drove to the mansion, and with the kids following in another car. When they arrived, the whole house had been set on fire. Hours later, once the fire was out, firemen discovered the burnt remains of the boy with his hands and feet tied with rope, next to a shotgun and axe smeared with blood. The next morning, police discovered a freshly dug grave with a dismembered corpse inside, the corpse of Mrs. Blood, but the body of Dr. Blood himself had vanished and was never found. Now, that's the story regarding the cemetery. I didn't look any of those details up online. I didn't try to dig any deeper on it. All I see is that there are plenty of stories on the internet on various sites where you can read about the experiences of those who have braved a night in the cemetery. There's a warning that goes with it that the people in this area say never ever go there alone. If you do, you may never come back. Well, that's the story, and I am going to try to get this set up tonight for a good stealther, but it's going to challenge me. I'm just going to take a little stroll around the cemetery, and to anyone driving by, it just kind of looks like I'm a photographer or taking some pictures here. But what I'm really doing is scoping the area, looking to see where it might be possible to set up camp. So we'll just walk the edge a little bit here. I know it's not going to be this side though, because there's a house. So I'm going to circle back around and check the middle area, which I think might be good. What lives in the hole beneath the grave? As I circle around, I'm just taking a look at some of these graves. Born 1808, died 1893. This next one I can't even read. Time has taken its toll on the stone. What I haven't seen so far are any stones that say blood on them, which would be the name of the gentleman that this cemetery is named after, Smith. If I find a blood, I'll let you know. Okay. Well, the far side of the cemetery, there's not really any graves. I still haven't seen a blood grave, but there's quite a few stones that are not readable. And what I'm thinking is, just behind me here over the fence might be the spot I go in at some point. I'm going to let it get a bit darker before I even try to go in there. The app I use that shows me the boundaries of each piece of property does denote that about 15 or 20 more feet exists to the city property here on the other side of the fence. So that's where I'm going to try to go. Exposed dirt around an ancient grave. Alright, I have indeed found where I'm going to do this. It's going to be difficult. Behind me there's a house on that side. I knew that, but it has some back windows that face over here, and if their lights are on or they're sitting in that area, I don't know if it's a kitchen or living room, but if they look right out, they're going to see in here. So I can't go too close that way. And the other side behind me over there, it's kind of the same thing. The house is right on that lateral edge of the cemetery. So that's out. So it's got to be the center. And I've cleared away a little spot on the fence there where these vines were growing up. I'm going to hop the fence there, and then I'm going to try to go just a little bit over that way. And if I can get my hammock strung between two trees and get it up, I'll do that. If not, I'm going to have to do it on the ground. Just string up the main line and use it on the ground, kind of like a bivy sack. I'm not quite sure what it's like back there. There's a lot of sticks, there's a lot of vegetation. It looks to be angled a bit, a slope going down away from the cemetery. So I'm going to go find a place to park further down the road, because I can't leave my truck right on the edge there, because that's going to be too suspicious. And they do have a sign posted near the entrance to the cemetery stating no visitors after dusk, strictly enforced. So I found a place to park, but it's a bit down the road from the cemetery, 1.3 miles to be exact. There is a state park over here, and that's where I am parking. There's just a spot here that's used to access the trails. So I'm going to park here. I'm going to walk back the 1.3 miles, and well, there's not a lot of cars going down this road over here, so I don't think I'll face too many staring faces, at least on the first part of the hike. That last 0.3, there's more houses, and that's where the cemetery is, but I saw a spot where I can get in. I'm not going to go in through the front gates again. I'm going to hop the fence, or at least drop my stuff over the fence there, and then maybe go in the front gate. I'll have to scope it out when I get there, but I want to be able to get in without anyone seeing me, get straight back to that spot on the fence and over it and set things up. Then the plan is, once it gets dark, go back out into the cemetery and see what we see. I'm just heading down the road, 1.3 miles, and then I'll get there. With any luck, no cars will go by. I'm getting closer. The dirt road ended and I am now on pavement, and actually passing by me on this road has only been one ATV, no cars yet. There was a few that just went down the other road there, but no one's passed me yet. I'm close. Okay, I made it. One truck did pass me a few hundred yards before coming in, but they kept going and the coast was clear. So I dropped my bag over the fence, hopped it real quick, and bolted back here. And now I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go try to get over that back fence, get my hammock up, then come back out here when it's dark. That's the plan, at least. Well, I'm having to wait a little bit longer to get over that fence because the house directly across the street behind me, there's the family keeps coming outside, circling around their property a little bit, and I don't want them to spot me, so it's going to take me just a little bit longer to get back there. One thing at least has spotted me. There's a red squirrel up in the tree behind me, and it will not shut up. But I've had to lay low here. I've had people walking by. There's been an increase in traffic, and someone's out watering their lawn across the street now. So I need to wait just a bit longer still. These red squirrels are driving me nuts. Now there are multiple red squirrels barking away at me. Okay, so plans may change here. There is so much traffic on the street at the front of the cemetery. It wasn't there earlier when I came down and parked out there and walked in freely under the guise of being a photographer taking pictures. But people are walking by. There's so many golf carts going by full of people. I think the problem is there's a lake right around the corner, and this is July 2nd. There's lots of fireworks that are going off every now and then, and I wonder if people are going down to the lake and partying or hearing the fireworks, but they're just constantly going by over there. And for me, red squirrels, for me to hop the fence back there, it's gonna make a little racket. It's a bit taller of a fence than a normal one, and then I gotta hop back over to get in here, and these houses on the sides are so close. I hear people cutting wood. I wonder if they're gonna have bonfires or something going on. So what I might end up doing is staying right here where I'm at and pitching the hammock on these trees right between the tombstones. Here is a look at the spot where I think I'm going to stay. And there's this tree here I can tie one side of my hammock to. And I believe we might use that tombstone right there for the other side. I'll tell you what though, after doing that big hike to get down here, which I think might have been closer to 2 miles, and then stressing constantly over people seeing me that are walking by or driving by, I've worked up the king's thirst for a frosty brew. So I'm going to try cracking one open here. We've got the Bell's No, yeah. Easy drinking golden ale. Fireworks. Oh, if I could time the opening of this with a firework, that'd be perfect. Anyways, I'm going to do that, wait a little bit longer, and then I'm going to try hooking the hammock up. So behind me, there's a pole barn on the other side of the fence. And that light's on, but that just comes on every night, I'm assuming. No big deal. And I'm just about ready to set that hammock up. Just giving it a little bit of time here. And I'll get it rolling. So every time a car goes by, it gets me on edge. You know, of course, I assume the worst, that it's a sheriff, that someone called them, and they're coming out to check. Highly unlikely, but every car makes me pause. Okay, got the red light out. I'm going to risk having some dinner, which are some cheese-filled bratwursts. I'm just going to cook them on my stove, and the hammock is strung between, well, it's laying between two tombstones. It'd take me 10 seconds to string it up. I just don't want to have it hanging from them right now. But I'm going to try all that, and I'll let you know how it goes. Oh, and as a little surprise, I do have an EMF meter that I'm going to take around at some of these tombs and ask some questions and see if we get any responses. That's to come. Alright, scratch that last plan. Apparently, my stove is not in my backpack. So, for the second time this season, I'm not going to eat. Too much back and forth. Backpacking, stealth camping. And I'm just going to have to buy another cheap stove and just leave it in the stealth camping backpack. That solves that. At least this time, I have beer. Well, here we go. We're going to take this and we're going to go out into the dark night and see what we can see or not see. So right when I said see what we'll see or not see, and I turned the camera off, there was a loud noise about 20 yards away from me. It just happened once, and no other noises now. So I think we're going to go take a look, maybe that direction. We'll see. Okay, so upon investigation, it was people walking by to my left on the road, and there's a car coming. I got to darken this up. Alright, I've got my meter. I'm out amongst the stones. Is anybody here? Can you show me a sign? Just show me on this meter. Make it go up. You hear that? Crickets. Crickets and fireworks in the background. Okay, well, walked around the cemetery, asked questions, asked if anything was here could make a noise. Didn't get much. The only noise I heard tonight ended up being people walking by, and a lot of red squirrels. But this is really crazy with how busy the street is out there, especially when earlier it was dead. Good choice of words. I'm just going to go to bed. This is my first use of my hammock as a bivvy, and I'm not going to like it like that. But it is what it is. I'll try to get some sleep. I'll get up. I'll try to show the camp in the morning before I break it so you can see how I did it. Okay, twice now a car has come by, stopped, and shined a giant spotlight in the graveyard. And the only way I managed to stay undetected is because I was behind that little bit of a hill. But I don't know what's going on, if someone saw me. I don't know if they're just patrolling and shining the lights. But it's got to be police shining those lights in. And I do not want to get caught. So I am going to gracefully bug out of here and back to the car. It's a bit of a hike to get back there, and it's the middle of the night right now. Oh, the light's coming back. That was a false alarm. That was just a regular car. They didn't stop and shine the bright light into the graveyard. Prior to those lights coming, there were some noises here. Someone sneezed 5 times, and it was like almost directly outside of my hammock. And I know noise plays tricks on you. And earlier I thought I heard someone, but they were on the street, but this was close. So I don't know what that was about. If it's just noise. One of these people in their houses outside sneezing and it carried funny or what, but that was weird. But what I'm not too happy about is this car that stopped and shined its light in twice. So I'm getting out of here before it's too late. We're getting out of here before we get caught. All right, back at the truck. That was a long, dark walk back. Not one car passed me. In the cemetery, it's cars nonstop. It's cars shining lights. And the whole way back, no cars. But it's a long dirt road that's out in the country, and back where the cemetery was, it's by the lake, and there's a lot of houses, and there's other roads that cross this long dirt road here, so those cars must be coming from other directions, but they didn't pass me on this road. As far as the stealther goes, 5 out of 5 for difficulty. Most difficult, I think the most fun one I've had so far too. It was a challenge, and even though I did a lot of planning, I did not foresee having to stay in the cemetery and not being able to stay in the woods around it. But those houses backed right up to it, and people were out there. When I left, I could see they had bonfires going in the back of their yards, and so that wasn't too far away from where I would have tried to set the hammock up. I think being behind the hill is the only thing that saved me when what I'm taking to be maybe police coming by, shining lights in there. So hard, fun, tiring, and probably more doable not on a holiday weekend. Until next time, I am the drinker of ales, the teller of tales, and I camp in stealth because it's good for my health.